Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War video. In tonight's video, we're going to be talking about the best class setup for the AUG Tactical Rifle, aka Tactical Rifle Charlie in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. This is a weapon that received pretty decent nerfs, but this weapon, in my opinion, is still one of the better guns in this game and still an absolute monster, especially with the class setup I have on it here. If you put this thing with 3 good perks and then load it up with 8 attachments, this thing absolutely destroys people. You can get 1 burst kills, and even when you're not getting 1 burst kills, 2 burst kills with a really pretty quick fire rate, especially with this attachment setup. Now we're going to be talking about the ultimate 8 attachment setup for when you have this weapon maxed, as well as the 8 attachment setup for when you're in like the middle of the levels, because in this game it does take a long time to level up your weapons. So in my class setup videos, I'm going to try to give ultimate setups for when you have it maxed, but also some setups and attachments and stuff that can work for when you're in the middle levels, whether you're between, you know, level 20 and 40 or something like that with the weapons, because right now it is double weapon XP, which is a really good time, especially now. Double weapon XP and the Nuketown 24/7 playlist, a really good time to get on and rank up your weapons, but it still does take quite a while in this game, and especially when that double weapon XP goes away, the weapon leveling does take quite some time. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. If you could drop a like on this thing, that would be absolutely amazing. Let's go ahead and go for 303 likes. If we could hit that, that would be incredible. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed. Hit that notification bell, smack the like, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So I will show the perks and everything like that of the setup up on the screen right now, and this is what it is. As you can see, obviously AUG with 8 attachments, so fully loaded. The secondary of the Gallo SA-12, which is a very nice shotgun secondary, and then stim shot, frag, and field mic as far as my 3 across the board there. Flak jacket, scavenger, and ninja. Now, I've been using scavenger quite a bit more. I think assassin and scavenger are pretty much standing out to me now as perk 2s. Assassin is just nice to pick up some easy score as well as notice the enemies on the minimap. Scavenger, of course, is very nice depending on the map and the setup that you have. And with a weapon like this where you're going to be more posting up, I like to have scavenger. I think it is decent. You know, it depends on the map that you're playing. You know, if you're on a map like honestly on a map like Garrison, you might not need scavenger because you can just go to that resupply crate that's right in the middle by B flag, but on some other maps you probably do. But I just like to have scavenger on a weapon like this where I'm going to be posting up more. And then ninja as far as my perk 3. If I only can pick 1 perk 3 in the 3rd perk slot, there's a lot of good stuff, but I like to go with ninja if I just have the option for 1, because then I can't hear my own footsteps as loud and the enemies can't hear my footsteps as loud, so it makes it easier for me to hear them, and also they can't hear me nearly as much. Like it's game-changing ninja, especially if you're playing against players that are going to listen for footsteps or stuff like that, or even if they're not, if you're listening for footsteps yourself, it's very nice to have ninja. Now let's go over and first of all I'm going to go through my 8 attachments that I use on the maxed AUG, and then after that we're going to go through 8 attachment setup for that mid-level AUG. So depending on, it doesn't matter really what level you have this weapon on, I think this video will help you guys out, so make sure to watch and we'll go through all of these attachments. Hopefully this will help you guys out, right? So first of all, as far as the red dot, I like to use this one. I forget what this one's called actually, but this is one that I think it only zooms in like 1.25, and I've been experimenting. They have a bunch of different red dot sights in this game. You know, you have the classic, which is like the mill stop, then you have this one, then you have one that's more like a square. There's quite a few. I actually really do like the customization options out of anything on the attachments. Like a lot of the attachments are just the ones towards the bottoms are better because they want you to grind the game out, but with these sights there actually is quite a bit of different options that work. And as far as with my ultimate setup, I like this one, but obviously this just comes down to personal preference, which as far as which red dot sight you use, but I do recommend using a sight on this weapon of some degree, some sort of sight. Next is going to be the SOCOM Eliminator, 85% muzzle flash concealment, 17% vertical recoil, pretty standard attachment to have, especially because like this is a fully loaded class. I'm going to fill up every single slot, so I'm going to throw that on. Next for the barrel, I go with the bottom barrel, plus 19% damage, 50% effective damage range, 50% bullet velocity, and what you get hit with is more recoil. But honestly, I don't find like the recoil on this, like the FFAR, that gun, the first time I hopped on after the nerf and I shot it, I thought my game was glitched. The recoil was so insane on how much they nerfed that gun with the recoil specifically. Of course, that weapon still has huge strengths, but the weakness of the FFAR is that recoil. With a weapon like this, recoil really isn't a problem. It's a burst gun, right? It's gonna take 1 to 2 bursts to kill people. So this is really good. I like having the longest available barrel, the 19.8 task force. Next, I have the soft target designator. With this one, one, you can go with steady aim laser, but personally, I don't really find that the reveal distance helps too much, especially on these like small multiplayer maps. I don't really notice what it's doing. I don't know, maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section down below. I think this is more of an attachment that's made for probably, you know, your big modes, like big map modes, as well as probably Warzone. But the thing with this is if you go with steady aim, it can help you out, but it can also give you a little bit of a false confidence, because you don't want to be hip firing with this weapon, especially when you have a Spaz 12 basically in your back pocket, and you can just switch over to that quickly. So I just like to rock with this, the reveal distance. Next is the Infiltrator Grip. 5% movement speed, 5% shooting move speed, and 5% aim walking speed. Pretty awesome stuff there. As far as like, if I was only running with 5 attachments, I probably would not use the grip, not use the SFO target designator, and not use the SOCOM eliminator, and then go with a 5 attachment setup. But personally, the 8 attachment setup I really like on this weapon, because you're building this class setup around the ability to 1 to 2 burst your enemies, and you want to be able to just have the best setup possible as far as attachments to be able to compete with this weapon. And, you know, not necessarily compete, because this weapon can compete either way, but to start dominating and just destroy people, you really need to have those 8 attachments to be in the best spot to win the majority of your gunfights. Next is the Salvo 54 round fast mag. This is the bottom magazine, which is pretty self-explanatory on this one. You get 54 rounds, and basically you really shouldn't be caught in a reload, because I mean, what's the math on that? It's a lot of bursts. That's a lot of bursts you have with 54 rounds, and then even when you go to reload, 35% increased on the reload quickness. It's a fairly fast reload. Airborne elastic wrap. You see this on pretty much all the setups. 90% flinch resistance, 80% aim down sight time, and the ability to aim while going prone. Pretty awesome stuff there. And then probably the best attachment on this weapon, or at least one of the best, because there's quite a few attachments that are important to this, but I'd say maybe this is the best one, or the most important. One of the later unlocks, like really late unlock. 30% sprint to fire time, 40% aim walking move speed, and you just lose hipfire accuracy, which once again, this is not really, hipfire is okay on this weapon, but this is made for your posting up and winning gunfights at that mid to long range, 1 to 2 bursting people. So that's my setup as far as the max level AUG. Now, if you have this thing but in the mid levels, I'll go through and give some different setups here. I would say probably go with the mill stop reflex, which is unlocked kind of early for this one, and a nice just standard red dot sight. The flash guard 5.56, 90% muzzle concealment, unlocked fairly early, and a pretty decent attachment, I guess you could say. Something that is just easy to slap on, because it's such an early unlock. 18.2 strike team, which is a barrel right in the middle. Now with the barrels, as far as like, I prefer the last one, but as far as before you unlock that, there are quite a few that work decently on this weapon, and you do lose effective damage range. So it all depends on like what you're playing with this. If you're playing on like a smaller map, this one is awesome. You know, 90% damage, 13% fire aim is amazing. If you're using this on a bigger map like Satellite or something like that for long lines of sight, maybe you wouldn't want to use this barrel and switch out to something else. But I find that the most of those barrels in the middle of the unlocks there, they really do hurt your effective damage range, which kind of sucks, but they boost you up in other ways. SOF target designator, unlocked, you know, not too late. And before you get that, I'd probably just go with the steady aim laser or the mounted flashlight, whatever you prefer. Probably I'd say go steady aim laser and then over to the SOF. Infiltrator grip, once again, really just awesome. No negatives, plus 5% on 3 categories that matter quite a bit. Very important there, and easy to slap on if you have that 8 attachments and doesn't, you know, take a high level to unlock. Next is the 45 round speed mag, which is right there in the 3rd slot. Pretty nice stuff. Obviously not going to be as good as the 55 round fast mag, but 45 round speed mag, I mean, this is a burst weapon anyway. Like, you're going to be pretty much set with any of these things as long as you start unlocking and working your way down. But I do like that 45 round speed mag is pretty nice in my opinion, and then move up to the last unlocked one when you get that. You know, you might like some of them in between, but that's just what I was rocking. Field tape, 90% flinch resistance, unlocked there in the 3rd slot, and then in the 1st slot for this tactical rifle, aim walking movement speed. Usually if it's a tactical rifle or an assault rifle, I take the tactical stock, which helps my aim walking movement speed, and if it's an SMG, I take, which is usually, I think it's the 2nd slot on SMGs, which helps your sprint to fire time or whatever that's called. So that's what I would say as far as some 8 attachment setups, as far as when you max this weapon out, and then the last 8 attachments I just showed you for as far as when you're working on those mid-range levels and leveling up this weapon. But I think this is a weapon that definitely is worth using. I think a lot of people probably have, like the people that use this weapon have been using it quite a bit, but I think there's also a lot of people that are ignoring this weapon because, of course, it's a little bit hidden in the tactical rifle category. You know, assault rifles and SMGs are pretty much the most used weapons in almost every Call of Duty game, that people just go through those and try to pick the best ones, and that's what I usually do too. But in this game, there are some really good tactical rifles, and I think the AUG stands stands out from those tactical rifles. The AUG and the M16, really awesome weapons, even though they did both receive nerfs. I think they're still really fun to use, and even in a game where it's fast time to kill like this, the 1 to 2 bursts, and with that fire rate that is pretty fast, it doesn't take too much time, like there's not too much delay in between bursts. This weapon is very strong in this game still, and yeah, I'd say it's still one of my favorite guns even after the nerf. It's just a lot of fun to use and very satisfying when you get kills. It definitely will make enemies rage, because I know whenever I get killed by this thing, it does make me rage just a little bit, because it's like they'll just, especially when you die from one burst, you know, when you die from one burst, it's like, oh my gosh, that weapon is so strong. And it's good when you're on the delivering end of destroying people with one burst. On the receiving end, not so much, when your enemies are posted up with this AUG and just one bursting you off of head glitches. It gets kind of tough, but pretty good weapon and definitely a fun one to use. I recommend trying it out, and hopefully this class setup will help you guys out. Thanks for watching. That's about it. Subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.